Fortnite, Talking Ben, Steam Deck review. Did that come out already?
What's up, fellow gamers? It's your boy, John from 19Tech, and today we've got the Steam Deck. It is super cool. It only seems to play Nintendo games. That's kind of weird, but it is awesome.
Wow, that looks pretty cool. I wish I had one.
We're going to look at everything about it today, but first, a word from today's sponsor, Raid.
Yeah, too bad I can't find one because they just came out.
Okay, that's it, and timestamps in the description below, and let's get started.
Wait a second, what's that on the floor? Whoa, is that a Black Shark 4 Pro? The 144 hertz gaming phone for only $579? What if I took this random Razer Kishi that's on my desk for some reason and put them together? If I put them together. Whoa, it's like a Steam Deck, but it's a smartphone. A really good deal of a smartphone too. Yeah, okay. Hey, how's it going? I'm Josh from 91Tech, and yeah, no, this video is sponsored. This is not a Steam Deck, but it is actually an impressively decent alternative. So timestamps in the description if you want to skip ahead. As always, Xiaomi reached out to me wanting to sponsor me on a video about the Black Shark 4 Pro, and initially I thought, okay, well, I'll review it. And I actually got quite far into making that video. I had scripted it, I was ready to get down and do the editing and the voice work and everything. But then I thought about it and I realized, as honest and genuine as I felt that I was still being, when a video is sponsored, a review is never going to come across that way. But luckily with the release of the Steam Deck, that gave me a whole nother idea. Why not turn this super overpowered gaming phone into kind of a competitor? And this has all been done before. But there were specifically kind of three aspects of this I really wanted to look at. Number one is the device itself and why a gaming phone can do more than just play games good. Number two is emulating old games. And number three is when we really turn this into a Steam Deck as we look into streaming games. This would allow us to play console AAA level titles and play them in some cases a lot better than the Steam Deck could ever play them, thanks to the fact that other systems are more powerful. I have a PS5, I have a PC. That PC has a 3080 Ti. I was lucky enough to find one. So lots of stuff to go over here. And let's start this off with the Black Shark itself. Why a gaming phone can be a really good idea if you're looking for a new phone and also looking at something like the Steam Deck. And with the right accessories, this is the Razer Kishi, we can really take it to the next level.
The phone is only $579, and at that price point, the hardware is completely unmatched. Link is in the description below if you want to check it out. It helps out the channel, and it is genuinely a great phone. If you were looking for a powerful Android or you're into gaming, this is definitely one to look at.
We're talking about a very sleek design. I really do like the design of this phone. It's so simple. It feels really good in the hand, and it does have RGB, but it's really subtle. It's just the logo. That's it. Now, the one thing worth mentioning about this phone is that it is a year old. So if you're like, I feel like I've seen reviews on this already, that's because it came out a year ago. But it only came out in Eastern markets, not so much like North America and Europe. But now it's out, and the price reflects that it is a year old. It's only $579, and it has the Snapdragon 888 processor, so it's one step behind. There's not going to be much difference with the newer chip anyway. And all the hardware here is pretty much top of the line. 144 hertz on the very nice AMOLED display, a 64 megapixel camera, a massive battery that charges to 50% in 5 minutes, and in 15 minutes will get you to 100%. And I've tried this. It works really, really well. It's crazy. It has a headphone jack. Now, my favorite thing about the Black Shark, right here, there are these triggers. You can hear that click. Oh, so satisfying. You can slide those over, and there's a bumper that magnetically pops up. And you do that to the other side, and then you have bumpers. So if you remember my recent video on the Red Magic, so that phone has touch bumpers. Now that's cool and it's useful, but this is about a million times better because there's actual tactile feedback. You're pushing something. You're not just lightly tapping it and hoping that it doesn't record an accidental press. It's also kind of just addicting to mess with the bumpers. But that does make gaming on the touchscreen itself a whole lot better. As far as touchscreen controls go, this is by and far the best phone I've ever used. The link to the phone is in the description. Videos like this really help out the channel. Not only do I get to talk about some awesome stuff that I've been wanting to talk about anyways, along with just this really cool phone, but it helps me do more kind of interesting stuff in the future that I wouldn't normally be able to do. So big thank you to Black Shark. Please check it out, link in the description, and without further ado,
let's quickly establish what the Steam Deck is for those who might not know, and how we're going to try to match it. The Steam Deck is basically a portable PC running Linux with Steam pre-installed, meaning you're able to actually download and play games from Steam right on this impressively powerful portable and convenient device. It's really cool, and for the first time it's brought some real competition to the Nintendo Switch. There might not be a ton of crossover in target audiences, but it does bring a legitimacy to PC gaming that we don't often see, and that's awesome. Reviews have been somewhat mixed of the actual machine for various reasons, but it's been received mostly positively. The Steam Deck starts at $400, but it isn't readily available yet. You need to actually reserve a device, and I personally am not going to be doing this anytime soon. I have a PS5 and PC that I mainly play games on, and so not only do I not need a Steam Deck, but it would also be a bit of a downgrade compared to those, just with the benefit of being portable. Now the Steam Deck can stream from your main PC using Steam Link, but you can also do that with a smartphone. And so of course, the Black Shark 4 Pro is a good example. And having a gaming phone like this, even if you're doing things on it that doesn't necessarily require a lot of power, the foundation for the hardware is extremely solid, meaning everything is fast, the battery life is really good, and you can play games at 144 Hz if they allow it. So there are a fair few Android ones that do, and especially in more competitive online games, it can give you a real edge over the competition. Plus, the game library for both iOS and Android keeps getting better year after year as more and more like full games, not just apps, come to the platforms. Games like Stardew Valley, for example, Fortnite, Minecraft Bedrock Edition. Minecraft actually runs at 144 Hz and it is gorgeous. Not only does it look great, but it runs so smoothly. This probably runs better than it does on a lot of PCs, or at least looks better thanks to the high refresh rate display. And this is the full game. You can play with someone who's playing on a PS4, PS5, or their PC, or any console. Oh, also before I forget, Stardew Valley, one of my favorite games on PC. I've put way too many hours into it. A, yes, I bought it specifically for this video, and B, I definitely did not go looking for mods to give me infinite money. I am just a very good farmer. It's not much, but it is honest work. If you're kind of turned off by the whole gaming smartphone thing because of touch controls, I can say I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm not a huge fan. The actual clickable bumpers do help massively in the experience, but you're still not using an actual controller, right? That's where something like the Razer Kishi comes into the picture.
Now, there are a lot of accessories like this. This isn't the only one for sure, and it's a bit expensive for what it is, so I don't necessarily recommend it, but it's the one I went with, and I have been really liking it so far. It definitely doesn't feel better than an actual controller. It feels like a cheap controller, if anything, but it works, it's functional, and it's convenient. There were some foam inserts initially, but the phone is a little bit thick, so it didn't fit that well with them. But I took the foamies out and I put the pre-included case on here, and now it fits about perfectly. And it feels good. It actually does kind of feel like a Switch. So emulation. Now, emulation has always had a ton of potential on the Android platform, and admittedly, that was a big reason I wanted to do this video. I wanted to talk about it because I don't usually get that opportunity. We won't go too in depth, obviously, but we are going to try a few things on here. The gist of it is that we're going to be able to play older titles up to the PS1 and N64 era, as well as portable device titles like the Nintendo DS and Game Boy, which aren't even that old, all things considered, and they can play near flawlessly on this thing. It's so cool.
And I will say, just for a bit of a disclaimer, emulation's a bit of a gray area, especially when it comes to actually finding the ROMs for games. I definitely don't officially encourage any kind of piracy. A lot of old games are really hard to find now, which really sucks. But in this case, I got an emulator called Classic Boy Pro. This came very highly recommended. I also saw quite a bit of negativity around it, but it seemed like it was a decent option. We will also try Dolphin in a little bit, but we'll start here. Classic Boy Pro can play a large number of systems. We're talking basically most things up to the PS1 and N64. So of course, as I've been playing the newer Gran Turismo on PS5, I had to go get an old classic Gran Turismo 2. I do own Gran Turismo 2 on PlayStation 1, so ahoy there, I'm not a pirate in this case. And I was very happy to see that it ran perfectly. It actually ran so well. This is a free app, but there is a pro version which gives you some more features, like save states, although you can use like virtual memory cards for consoles. I ended up buying it because I think it's something I'll genuinely use, mostly for the PS1, but I might try the other emulators. Can play some old Pokemon games from the Game Boy, DS days, just so many options, it's awesome. And the touch controls here are actually quite good. As soon as I was in, of course I have the bumpers and I was able to map them pretty easily to accelerate and stop, and then it's just a matter of steering with the joystick on the touchscreen itself. But as said before, I would rather use a controller, and sure enough, the Razer Kishi worked just fine, and I was playing Gran Turismo PS1 on this device. And of course, you have all the advantages of emulating too. You can speed up the game and all these cool things. And yes, I did all the B license tests to get to the races. I genuinely spent time on this, not even thinking about it. I was just having a good time. And we also have to try Dolphin out here. Dolphin can play Nintendo Wii and GameCube titles on your device. That's right, your Android can play Wii and GameCube games. That's awesome. So in this case, I went ahead and tried out Sonic Colors. It worked really well. Emulation on Android has pretty much limitless potential, and it's really cool. Certainly something worth investing time into. And thanks to the great hardware of a phone like the Black Shark 4 Pro, we can even push games past their limits, making them run better than they actually would have on the Wii. It won't take too much time to do any of that here, but I just wanted to mention that again, potential here is just huge, and a gaming phone makes it just that much better. Alright, so we didn't spend too much time on emulation, but there's not a ton to say. It works really well, as you would expect. There's quite a bit that goes into it. I didn't really go into details about cores or anything like that, just kind of a surface look, but there's lots of resources out there to help you out setting things up. It's really actually not too bad to do, but let's get back to talking about more modern gaming.
So one big issue with the Steam Deck is that it runs Linux by default, and a lot of games still don't run on Linux. Now this is getting better and better every year, and there are some workarounds, such as you could just install Windows on the Steam Deck, you can do that, but that is a lot of trouble to go to, and most people just aren't going to bother. And so that's where a phone like this can have a real advantage, especially with streaming. Now there's kind of a couple methods of streaming. One is to play from your own system, whether that be a console or a gaming PC, and then the other is to play games over the cloud, where you have, say, xCloud, where they have an Xbox off somewhere playing your game for you as you tell it what to do from your home, thanks to the power of the internet. It's all really darn cool, and I was surprised to see just how well all of it works. Not every app is great, and I don't try every single app, but we will be talking about some of the highlights. So let's start by trying to stream off of a system you already own. There's a lot of advantages to doing this. For one thing, depending on what console you have, the potential when it comes to graphical fidelity, along with performance, could be a lot higher than what the Steam Deck can do. Plus, it might be a game that the Steam Deck just can't run. For example, I have a PlayStation 5, and something I've been playing a ton of lately is Gran Turismo. The new Gran Turismo 7 dropped, and not only is it an awesome game, I'm really enjoying it. I have complaints, but mostly it's a lot of fun, but it plays almost flawlessly on this Steam Deck alternative. Did I just open the camera? I think I... But yeah, it plays so well on here. Now, one big issue, the default PlayStation streaming app
Only lets you use a DualShock 4 or DualSense controller.
You can't use something like the Razer Kishi, which is ridiculous. You can on iPhone for whatever reason, but there is an alternative. I think it was about $8, and that is an app called PS Play. And frankly, I've so far liked it a lot more than I ever have with the default Sony one.
My favorite thing about it so far is that you can kind of fine-tune the experience. You can really mess with the settings to get a better connection. So it was an extremely easy process to actually get my PS5 connected. I won't show that here, but once I did that, I'm able to either locally connect, which is when I'm on the same Wi-Fi network, or remotely connect when I'm elsewhere. And then this is Gran Turismo playing on my Black Shark 4 Pro. This is so cool, and it looks really good. Now you might see a couple flashes here and there of some weird frame latency things. This didn't happen to me a lot, and after messing with some settings, it seemed to get better. But of course, a lot of it's going to be dependent on your internet connection and what kind of resolution you're trying to pull, that kind of thing. I will say the game looks really, really good like this. And while it's not at the 4K resolution of the PS5 because you are streaming, you do still get all the benefits of those high-end graphics, the lighting and everything. It's really cool. And the Razer Kishi, there's no rumble, no haptic feedback. I was definitely missing that, but otherwise felt really good to play on. And in a bind, of course, I could always use the touch controls, and bumpers especially would be a big help here, so that's awesome. I was actually remote connecting. My brother had his birthday the other day, and I was over there at my parents' house, and he was playing Gran Turismo 7 on the PS4 Pro, and I was playing on my PS5 remotely, and we were just playing. It was fine. It worked really well. It was actually so darn cool. And again, streaming like this has been around for a long time, but to actually put it into action in a portable device like this, it brings it to a whole nother level.
Okay, so that's PlayStation. It worked really, really well. What about streaming off of Steam? I've got a really solid gaming PC with a 3080 Ti. I can play games on here that the Steam Deck would never be capable of, so could streaming be worth it? Well, it works pretty well, and there's some games that are really fun on here. Elden Ring is a game that's kind of popular right now. I had not bothered playing it. I've played a little bit of Dark Souls before. It wasn't really my thing, so I was not so much skeptical as just not that interested. However, for this video, I did think it would be a really good example because it's a game that you're probably not going to be playing on the Steam Deck, and if you are, performance could be questionable. But yeah, we gave it a shot. First thing you gotta do is, of course, create your character. I am very pale and very European, so naturally for the skin color, we went about as blinding as we could. And then at first I wanted to make him kind of look like me, but then I was like, you know what? No, I don't want to look like me. I do that in real life already. I want this to be like the Giga Chad guy, you know, who always is in the memes. You know, the memes these kids are talking about nowadays, those things. And so this is what I ended up with. I think he kind of looks like the Giga Chad guy. I mean, look at that chin. If that isn't a Chad chin, I don't know what is. Now the Karen hair, that was kind of just a spur of the moment thing. I didn't really see that coming at first. The colors pink and purple, it just seemed to suit him, honestly, with the really white skin. I can't even keep a straight face describing it. I don't even have it in front of me right now, just describing it. He's so scary. When he has his helmet on too, the chin just pokes through the helmet, and he's got these red eyes with no pupils. It is a beautiful, beautiful man. They say that this game is about defeating bosses or whatever, but I don't think that's gonna happen because I'm pretty sure Sir Chad the Giga is the boss. But anyways, I went through the tutorial stuff and we came out to the beautiful open world. It really does look gorgeous and it looks really good on this, I was almost about to say Steam Deck, but this Black Shark 4 Pro and the Razer Kishi. And so there was this NPC who wanted to talk to me and that was kind of rude. So I started attacking him, and then even more rude, he started fighting back. That was really mean of him. Anyway, so he was really strong and killed me, and so that was my first death, dying to an NPC. That was kind of sad. I don't know why you would attack someone who looks like Sir Chad. I mean, look at him. He's terrifying. I would run away in fear. But anyways, just wandering around a little bit and hoping not to die from something. Like, I don't know enough about this game to know what to expect. I just know that around any quarter you could die at any time. But anyways, it's clear the graphics look really good. The performance was pretty smooth. So overall, I give the game a 10 out of 10. IGN, a little bit for everyone. Unless you don't like dying constantly to NPCs that want to talk to you and you attack and then they attack back. I'm still a little bit salty. Next game I wanted to try is one that you definitely would not be able to run, at least very well, on the Steam Deck if you did get it up somehow, and that is Cyberpunk 2077. Now this game, people have opinions on it. It was pretty broken at launch. It's still kind of broken, but there is no question that with ray tracing especially, it looks really good, and that's why I actually bought it when I got my 3080 Ti. I wanted to see just how good the lighting could look, and it looks pretty darn good on this device. I was actually surprised to see it works pretty well. I won't do too much here, just kind of kicking around the open world a little bit.
You can see some artifacting there. I was having more issues with latency on this game. I'm not sure if it's because it was more powerful and thus the computer was under more load. I had all the settings on like Psycho, Ultra, you know, all the highest things. So I also was kind of at the other side of my apartment. I think if I was closer to my router, that might help a little bit. And it also doesn't help that the cars in Cyberpunk are just ridiculous to control anyways. There are some things I like about this game. Driving the cars are not really one of them. They could have done a lot better with it. But anyways, that's Cyberpunk. It definitely works. It's playable. And with a better connection, I think it wouldn't be too bad at all. So I think that's enough for streaming from our own systems. Let's take some time and look at streaming services when it comes to playing on the cloud. We're going to keep this portion fairly brief, even though I do think this is probably the most appealing aspect of streaming and gaming right now. You have services that have been fairly popular, like GeForce Now. I actually did try GeForce Now, but for some reason, NVIDIA wouldn't let me sign in. I signed in multiple times, and every single time it just would boot me out when it was trying to load, so I don't know why that was, but that's okay. I also tried Stadia. Stadia is a bit more infamous. It launched to not exactly the most positive reception, and I went ahead and I paid for a single month of service from Stadia, thinking that this would give me access to the library of games they have, and there are some sort of impressive ones there, and no, it didn't. All it did was knock off a few dollars off of a lot of games that you actually have to buy. So I didn't realize this is kind of like a Steam library, like you actually have to buy these games and then you can just play them on the cloud. I don't like that very much. There are some pro games that you get for free, but they are lame. There are very few good ones. Like the best game on here is probably Destiny 2, and that's a free-to-play game anyways. I mean, you've got Control. I've heard good things about it, but I don't have any interest really in that. Apparently with the pro membership, it's kind of like PlayStation Plus, where you can claim the free games, and then they're in your library for the duration of your Stadia subscription. And apparently the games do get changed up a bit, but it doesn't sound like very drastically. So overall, Google, I mean, Stadia is probably dead anyways, but they definitely need to change something up. Okay, so enough with Stadia. Let's go to the one that I think most people would want to turn to, or at least should turn to, and that's Xbox Cloud Streaming, or xCloud. Now this actually comes with Game Pass Ultimate. So if you don't know what Game Pass is a subscription service from Microsoft that gives you access to a library of Xbox titles spanning all generations of Xbox, and games that are being made by Microsoft are coming day one to Game Pass, which is really cool. There's about 100 games or so on xCloud for you to choose from. So I chose Forza Horizon 5 and right away dropped in, and I was impressed to see that there were very few frame drops. It felt very smooth. This is easily the most premium experience I've had so far. The controls felt a little bit off to me, like there's a bit of latency, but there might be some fine tuning you could do there, and I'm not fully sure if I wasn't just imagining it. I won't say that it was perfect, but it was really really, really good. It wasn't helped that I was looking through the camera's display while playing this. That's what I'm gonna blame for my pretty bad steering. Of course, it's not just on mobile, you can play it on PC and stuff too. If you have a computer that's not capable of playing these high-end games, this is such a good service. And Xbox Ultimate Game Pass gives you so much other stuff too. Like you're getting Xbox Live, you're getting all those other games that you can download to your Xbox or your PC. It's just really hard to beat Game Pass right now, and xCloud for me just makes it that much better. This whole setup right here, for me, it really does hinge on something like xCloud. Obviously, this is never going to be a Steam Deck,
but I think it is pretty clear already that this device can genuinely be kind of an awesome streaming machine. And that's the advantage of buying a gaming phone like this, where the foundation is already so strong. When you slap a Razer Kishi or whatever on here as well, you can kind of bring it to that next level where you don't need a Steam Deck because you can do everything on your phone. Now, if you don't have great internet, it's probably not going to be an option. But then again, emulation is a thing, and the amount of games you can play is almost unending when it comes to that. And a lot of them take hours and hours to complete. Like Pokemon Soul Silver that I got working on this thing, if I really wanted to play it with the post-game stuff that takes forever, that's got to be at least 100 hours. And I could play it all on this device. And I don't even need the accessory for that one because it's pretty straightforward. And while you don't need a gaming phone for something like that, it does make it really nice, especially with the battery life aspect of things. I really have to thank Black Shark for sponsoring this video. I had a lot of fun with it. I was really impressed with the Black Shark 4 Pro. I've looked at gaming phones before, and while they were cool for the overpowered hardware at usually decent prices, this is me being genuine, this isn't just because I'm sponsored, although it might come across that way. This is my favorite phone that I've tried out that is for gaming. And that's because it doesn't really sacrifice a lot to be a gaming phone. A lot of the time, certain gaming phones can be very bare bones, particularly in software, but they have great hardware. This phone doesn't do that. The software is solid, the design's really nice, and every aspect of the phone just feels like a more complete experience. Xiaomi's a big company, they know how to operate in the Western market, and so it makes sense that they would make a pretty great phone. And they definitely have here. I really, really like the Black Shark 4 Pro. Can't thank them enough for sending it out to me. And again, link is in the description if you want to check it out. I know some of you might be annoyed by, especially lately, a lot of sponsored content, but it helps out the channel a ton. I also had a lot of deadlines pile up on me. I didn't expect to have to do so many in a row, so I do apologize for that. Usually I like to space out my sponsored videos. This video I felt like was a little bit different because I wanted to look at it anyway. If they just sent this phone to me for free, I would just review it. So yeah, can't thank them enough, and thank you so much for watching. If you found this video interesting or fun, maybe hit that like button and consider subscribing for more content just like this. You can follow me over on my socials, links in the description at 91_tech. We do have a Discord group as well. So yeah, I guess we're right about done here. Thanks again for watching. I'm Josh from 91tech, and I will see you all next time.